Hello, 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 wherever you are, friends, newcomers, subscribers, all of us who are watching this. My name is Kian Kline-Chilton. If you do not know me, I am the Artistic Associate of Cygnet Theater. And while this is not Kian's Corner, I'm very excited to be joined by a very, very special guest who will be hitting the Cygnet stage digitally. Well, anyways, we're very happy to have her. We're so lucky. She's an international star. You probably know her from Dixie's Tupperware party. So I'm gonna pull the Jay Leno and just say, let's bring him out. And Dixie, wherever you are, my love, come join me.
Hi, sweet angel. How are you?
Good, good, good. How are you?
I'm better for your asking. Aren't you so sweet? I
Oh my,
appreciate that. Look how
oh,
gorgeous you look. I can't even stand it. I feel underdressed.
no, 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 no. We look good together. I saw those outfits in that video. I said, I have to show up.
You are so stinking sweet. You make me all tingly in my Jesus place. Thank you, my angel.
Okay, but wait a minute. I like your background. I'm over here with this rainbow junk, and you're over here giving me life. What is this back here?
You know what? Listen, everybody's been having to do all these Zoom things, and everybody's like, oh, you got to get yourself a nice background. So put the things that matter to me. I got my name right there, Dixie. And then you matter, and a little thing that says hello. And then somebody painted my face on a rock. Shut up. I know it's so stinking sweet. And then like alcohol means something to me. And that's my cat that has passed away. Like not alive. Like she wasn't that little. She's passed away. So I put her up in there, And so she's always around me. Like I said, just stuff. You gotta have stuff around you that makes you smile. So
That right there, I swear, I feel like right now I'm in front of a celebrity. I feel like this is the closest I'm ever gonna get to like Dolly Parton. Like I'm just like, hello?
you are so sweet. I appreciate that.
I love it. I love it. Funny story, really quickly before I start asking questions. So you are kind of a celebrity because I won't say, but I have a friend who's becoming famous. But when I told her we were doing this, she was like Dixie, and I was like, yeah, and she's a fan of Tupperware Party. So if she's watching this, I'll be like, hey
I
girl.
appreciate that. Well, listen, I have been around. I've been around. I've been around. I'm like that rash you don't got a salve for. I just keep popping up when you don't expect me. I've been around for so many dang years. Well, and I started everything. I started my supper parties there in Southern California, not in San Diego, but I was in like Los Angeles and Orange County a lot. So
Okay.
that's where so many people down around there know me just from my quality food storage solutions.
Come on, come on.
That's what happens, and that now I've been traveling all over the world. I've been in different countries. I've been in places I didn't even know had food. Isn't that crazy? Talking
Okay,
about food storage, I'm like, I don't know if they're really getting what I'm talking about, but they were. And
that's what's
then my show was, and we'll talk about all this stuff, but my show got translated a couple of years ago into Portuguese because they did it in Brazil. Isn't that amazing? And then I went down to see it. I was so excited. I got myself on a plane. I got a passport, and they said, "Get your butt on down here." Well, they said it in their language. I didn't
right,
understand it. But I was like, I assume they invited me down. Maybe they're
right,
just like, "Please
right.
stop calling so late. You're waking the baby." And I got on a plane and I went down there and I watched it. And it was the weirdest thing to watch somebody else playing me doing my words in a different language. It was so crazy, but they were so sweet. And the audience was having the best time. And I was like, I guess everybody's having fun. That's the most important thing, you know?
Listen, you're an international star, baby. You're an international star. Okay, so wait. So we started in Southern California, but we didn't go to San Diego.
Isn't that so funny? I've never done my show like so. To backtrack a little bit, my show, and we'll talk about Dixie's Tupperware Party. My first show, my original show that's been all over the world now.
Right.
I started doing the show. Living room, started doing regular Tupperware parties. Then it turned into a show. Then it went to New York and blah blah blah. And I've been all around the world with it. But I've never actually done the show there in San Diego. I've been there for like events and such,
Right.
and fundraisers and everything. But I never been done that to do the show, which is just crazy. And so this was an opportunity to be able to like get there and also do it as a fundraiser to help out the theater, because I know every theater is closed right now, but I know the Cygnet, the smaller venues are hit in a more kind of a more impactful way, because the big
Right.
art centers, they have donors, they have money. A lot of them are part of the, it's part of the city code, so they get money from the city, and the smaller theaters don't. I mean, you're completely your ticket sales are what keep you going, and people donating and stuff. And if you don't have any shows, you don't have any ticket sales, so you have no revenue. So this was an opportunity to be able to give back to so many theaters that have been so impacted by this. So I've been able to do this with y'all.
Yes, yes, we love it. Okay, so wait, I need to know. I mean, I've seen a little bit of Tupperware Party, but like, tell me, my lovely Dixie, right? Like, you're a performer, you're a star, but what really made you go like, I want to do this? This is what I meant to do.
Well, it's funny. So I started selling Tupperware as part of the conditions of my parole. I got out of prison. My parole officer's like, you need a job in order to get your kids back. And I'm like, gross. But they make you take them back. It's like the dumbest thing. They're like, freedom. And then they hand you your kids. You're like, that's not what freedom means.
Yeah.
And but I needed a job. And so my parole officer said, you should do something where you can make some money and have some fun and go talk to people. I'm like, yeah, but I can't do certain things because the restraining order and everything. But she was like crafty. She got them removed. And I started doing Tupperware parties since 21 years ago. Isn't this crazy? I started doing Tupperware parties 21 years ago. Wow. And then doing them in Los Angeles and Orange County. And then that grew and grew and grew. And then I ended up talking to a friend of mine who's a director in New York. And he said, what are you doing? And I said, drinking. And he said, yeah, besides that. And I was like, I don't know, is there anything else besides that? I don't know. And so I told him that I was doing Tupperware parties, and he's like, there's a show in here. And so he and I worked on it together, took it to New York as part of what's called the New York International Fringe Festival, which is where this whole thing started. I know, great Fringe festivals been going on forever. And if you've ever been there, been a part of it, it's so amazing because there is theater in every nook, cranny, broom closet, teachers. I did my show at the teachers' cafeteria at Pace University all the way downtown. That is where I did my show. And it was so crazy, but everybody sort of like rolls your sleeves up and just goes for it. And so I did really well, had some fun. I got some, I won an award for my show, and I was so excited. Well, that got me some attention, and then that got some people involved in it. And then 3 years later, the show opened off Broadway. And that was sort of the big thing that just launched everything. Yeah, and then, so it was a show about, well, the whole concept, the context of the show is you're at a Tupperware party. I'm there, doing Tupperware with you. But it's a show about women's empowerment, and it's all told sort of through the allegory of a Tupperware party. But it's all about, trace where the Tupperware party started and the woman Brownie Wise, who created the Tupperware party, and how she got it to be this thing that helps so many women out to make money and be bigger members of their family, bigger members of their community, and go on to do great things. And so I wanted to use her as the story to kind of reveal to everybody else, you can do that too. You can be your own champion in your own story. So it had a real nice message of like lifting people up. And then the show went on the road in 2008 after that. And I was working with a touring company at the time, and they're like, oh, well, we're going to book it. We think we'll probably get like a year and a half on the road out of it. 12 years later, that damn thing, it's crazy. And it would still be running if it wasn't for the pandemic shutting it down. And so that's when everything started to pivot. But then when I was on the road, I was doing the show. I've been to the Denver Center for the Performing Arts, which is my favorite thing to say. It's hard to say that when you're drunk, just by the way. Denver Center for the Performing Arts is really hard to say. And so, but I was there, and I was coming in for my fourth time. And I said, do you think the audience still wants to see this program? And they said, oh, they're just being so neighborly. Oh, well, they want to rub up on my leg like a dog looking for peanut butter. They're just so nice to me. And I said, what if I came up with something new? And they're like, what did you just say? And I said, what if I came up with something new? And so I put pen to paper and I wrote myself a new show, and they produced it. And it's called Never Wear a Tube Top While Riding a Mechanical Bull and 16 Other Things I Learned While I Was Drinking Last Thursday. So that became my second show. I know it's got a long title, but I got stuff to do.
Took my wig off.
Stuff to say. Yeah, it's hard to put that whole thing on a ticket. It is. And so that's been like running in tandem with Dixie Tupperware Party around the country. And then everything got shut down. And then I was like, oh, well, what am I going to do? So at first, like everybody else, I was going online, seeing my friends and getting on like videos and stuff. And I started just doing happy hours with my friends. We'd meet online and we do happy hours. And then I started doing them on my social media. I would just open up on my social media. I'm like, today I'm going to make this drink. And so I'd make a drink, and then people would like log on and watch, and we make drinks together and talk for a bit. And then I was like, you know what? I should do something with this. I should turn this into a show. And so what I did, I contacted a bunch of the theaters that I know. And the thing that I'm really lucky, because I know a lot of the people at the top of the food chain. I know the artistic directors, for example, like yourself. And so I contacted a bunch of men art centers that I played all over the country. And I said, if I created a show and we streamed it, we figured out how to do it, would you be interested in it? And especially if I can do it as a fundraiser for y'all. And the response was overwhelming. And I ended up contacting this great streaming company. And I said, would you have the bandwidth basically to be able to do this different time zones, the same time all over the country? And so they sort of beefed up their infrastructure. structure and put it all together. And so I've been working with them. And so I basically created the package and said, here's what it's going to be. It's going to be this show. You're going to get it streamed. The lion's share of the money is going to go to the theaters to keep the doors open. So it's a fundraiser, because I've been so lucky in the last 12 years I've been on the road to have so many theaters open the doors to me. So I said, it's my turn to be responsible and give back. And so that's what I want this to be a fundraiser, to be able to help theaters who are doing it. And so, you know, like y'all are going to be participating in the show. So this show is going to be streaming for, you know, all y'all's friends. And then so the lion's share of them, 80% of all the ticket money from every ticket goes to the Cygnet. And that is what's important, because I'm hoping that this ends up being able to keep y'all afloat a little bit longer, pay the light bill, keep the door open, because I know we're all, you know, crossing our fingers that everything's going to come back soon, but every day, you know, it just all seems like, oh, it's still a little bit off, still a little bit off. We got it's in the distance. So if we can do something like this to keep the doors open and keep everybody going, chugging along till things resume, well, then that makes me happy.
I love it. I love it. And what a beautiful way, you know, I think that, like, first of all, beautiful story, like, hello, self-empowered, making it happen, like, go off, make it happen for yourself. But no, that's beautiful, especially because, you know, I think that's a reminder right now, you know, like in this time where so many of us are so far away, like, how do we come together? How do we still manage to lift each other up? How do we still manage to support each other? And just giving that from the kindness of your heart, it's a beautiful thing. But so, you know, I'm so curious, right? We so love booze, right? I mean, I'm allowed to say that. I hope I am. I hope I am. We all drink. We're all adults. But like, if Dixie had to make one drink, right? Let's say she said only one recipe for the rest of her life. I know, only one for the rest of her
Oh, that's
life.
rude. What a rude question. I can't even think of it. No, you know what? Listen, I'm a margarita girl at heart. I love a good margarita. But then, you know, the vodka is so versatile. Vodka is like a lesbian who will jump to the other side of that fence. Like, you can do anything with vodka. And so, you know, vodka is like the Kate Winslet of alcohols. It's just perfect for everything. You know, you can't go wrong with it. So, you know, I would do vodka drinks. I can't. Limited ones, just one is just not even fair. And it's funny, I'm going to do a series of videos for YouTube. I got a puzzle for Christmas it's the United States, and then every state is a different cocktail. And so I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I did the puzzle and then made each drink, and I'll do 50 little videos, and they'll all be like 1-2 minutes each. And they'll just be me making the drink to do the recipe and be like, hey, if you live in this is your state's drink or whatever, and then put it all together. I just thought that would be funny, because there's, you know, so many, but that's been one of the things, like, you take the time and get better at something during this time off that so many people had. And I'm like, I'm going to learn how to make cocktails better. So I have been making so many damn cocktails. They know, I walk into the Piggly Wiggly now. They're like, just go right there. I am right there picking up my stuff. One of the best days of the pandemic for me, I walked in there, they're like, oh, with this purchase, you just hit platinum. I'm like, oh, that's the nice thing. That means that I get extra surprises and free cocktails and stuff like that. The other day, they gave me an extra bottle of bubbly. They just gave it to me. They're like, you hit your marker. And I'm like, that's because I strive and I achieve. It's what I do. I'm a giver. So, yeah, you know, I think this has been an interesting time to watch what people have been creating for themselves and what they've been learning, because so many people have been like, well, I've always wanted to do something that I've never had the time to do. Now I have the time to do it, so I'm going to learn something. And you know, I've been actually taking some online bartending classes and learn how to make drinks better. So if I had to pick one drink, listen, I'm such a margarita girl at heart. I think it'd have to be a margarita.
Perfect. That's a perfect choice, though. That's a perfect choice. You can't go wrong with that.
Delicious thing to put in your mouth. And I put a lot of things in my mouth, like a ton of things in my mouth. So many.
Haven't we both?
Like,
oh my god.
Longer than a CVS receipt. I mean, it's a long list. It's a long list.
I feel like I'm gonna have abs because, like, I'm a quiet laugher. Well, I'm a loud laugher, but I'm a quiet laugher right now. So I'm not yelling because Zoom is like canceling out the sound. But please know that if I could, I'd be howling through the wind right now. You're cracking me up. Okay, so, you know, so you've been on the road for a long time. Well, actually, let's figure out. Let's hold up. I am really important. So I'm really important. I mean, let me start over again. What are your, like, the important things that you would say have inspired you, right? Like, I think we all have our inspirations, the things that we're like, oh, that's what makes me want to go, like, that's me. So, like, what are your biggest inspirations?
You know, everything inspires me. I know that sounds so stupid, but I find inspiration in everything. I want to tell you a little story. And this has really sort of set my life up. I had the great fortune of meeting a gentleman named Bob Gurr. Bob Gurr is one of the original Imagineers for Disney World.
Mhm.
He
Okay.
invented all of this stuff that moves.
Okay.
So like he invented the monorail. He invented all the drivetrain systems for different things, like the old Autobahn car
Yeah, yeah,
thing. That's the
yeah.
old thing that's not there anymore. But he did all this stuff, and he tells these stories. I had dinner. Been lucky enough to have dinner with him quite a few times, but the first dinner I had with him, I just, I just shut up and I just like just said, talk, just
Yes.
say as much as you can, because it was so fascinating. And then, and we were up and we were up and we were up, and I swear to God, we were talking till 5 in the morning. And I said, and he is an older gentleman. I think now he's in like his mid 80s.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so, and I was like, are you not tired? Is that not your bedtime? Do you not need to take your teeth out and go put yourself, in cold cream? And he said to me, and I'll never forget, he goes, the thing about me is I'm just too curious. There's always so much to see, so much to do, so many people to meet. I will never, ever be able to do it all. So boredom is not an option. And
Hmm.
he said that, and I memorized it when he said it, because I was like, that is the most amazing thing I've ever heard anybody say. And I just thought, that's what a great way to look at life. There's always something. You're not going to be able to do everything. So in anything, you should be able to draw inspiration, even if it's little. You should be able to. I mean, the old tired phrase, "Stop and smell the flowers." It makes a difference if you look around every day. And one of the things I talk about in my new show is starting the day with a happy hour instead of waiting until 5 o'clock. So that idea of like getting up at the beginning of the day and going, what makes me happy right now? Like starting the day with that question. So there's so much that inspires me. And I have to say, during the pandemic, what's been so interesting is, of course, it's been tragic. And of course, it's been so heartbreaking to see all these stories, and what the incredible loss of life we had, and all these frontline workers that have been overtaxed and so stressed. But what I really want to drive home to people is like, do you realize that the entire species of humans have had to abruptly change everything about how their lives run?
Yep.
The entire planet, instantly, we had to change it. And I think if you don't look at that as an inspirational thing, at the resilience of the human spirit, at how much we've had to just sort of overcome and go, well, this is our situation now, we've got to address it.
True.
I think there is, I think we do a disservice to ourselves if we don't look at that and go, we have been able to do something. We've had the rug pulled out from under us in such a substantial way, and
Yeah.
we are still functioning. We are still here.
Yep.
And I think
Yep.
that you can't undervalue that. And so I tend to put that in my mind a lot and just go, look where we are, look what we have the ability to do with technology like this, for example.
Right.
And I look at that and go, okay, we have good in the world, we have opportunity in the world, we have abilities in the world, we have a way to talk to people and get together. I mean, imagine if we had this pandemic, but like 15 years earlier,
Yep.
when we
Nope.
have any of this, what will we be doing? How
Exactly.
different would it be?
Exactly.
So it's come at a time that if you really look at it and really utilize the technology for the good, and
Yeah.
be able to communicate and do
Yeah.
things and be creative and see value in even the littlest things, you really, that's what inspires me.
I love that. I share that sentiment very much. And what a beautiful statement. What was it? There's nothing.
It- yeah, there's so little time that I'll never be able to see everything, I'll never be able to see everything, do everything, or meet everybody I want to meet. So boredom is not an option.
Boredom's not an option. That's beautiful. I'm taking that with me, putting that on the whiteboard and said, take it. Come on now.
Seriously, like when I say people and they're like, oh, I'm so bored, I'm like, how are you bored?
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
so much to do. You could pick up something right now and end your boredom. Like, just always baffled by that, because you see people that get to the end of their lives and they're always saying, oh, I wish I had more time because there's so much to do. And I'm like, well, when you have time, do it now.
Time is now, baby. Time is now. Okay, wait. I remembered the question I forgot earlier. Do you remember what the California cocktail is? Do you remember?
Oh, Lord, offhand, I can't remember what it was. Forgive me. But there is a funny thing. If you go, and I don't know if this is like the state cocktail, or if some puzzle maker just put it together and said,
Right.
whiskey sour, go.
Exactly.
But my favorite is, if you Google, there is, I Googled one time the most Googled cocktail recipes per state during the pandemic. You can actually find it. And the funniest one was Missouri was a gin and tonic. I'm like, how do you not know how to make a gin and tonic? It's right there in the
Right,
title.
the
It's gin
title,
and tonic. What's wrong with you,
like, come
people?
on now, girl. Like a lime, a lime. That's all you need is to put a little lime in there, and you're fine,
People
people.
are stupid. That's the
That
one
part,
thing I've learned.
that part. Okay, so what do you say? Like, so without giving away too much, right? Because of course, what people to watch, you want them to tune in. But like, what would you say like people should be really looking forward to about happy hour?
Well, so the show is about the 4 basic food groups: rum, gin, vodka, and tequila, and their place in your otherwise busy schedules, and
Yeah.
about the like the happy hours that you might be missing. The whole thing about it is throughout the show, I make cocktails, and then I sort of go into stories about the cocktails, like where they came from for me, what
Yeah.
I associate with them. And as I'm doing that, you learn a little bit more about me, and I spin these tales, and they seem kind of haphazard and random, but they all end up tied together at the end. So it's all about looking for the happy hours that you would not be seeing right now. Like, you know, when you walk down the street and you trip over like a baby, you're like, gross, but you trip over a 20 and you're like, pick that up. It's like that. It's about like finding the 20, like being aware to find the 20 so that you can bend over and pick it up, or like have somebody bend over for you if you're like elderly, or you know, when you want to get tipped more. But that's what it is. It's about, you know, and it's a fun show. It's very funny and it's inspiring. Hopefully it'll leave you going out into the world with a bigger smile on your face and looking for those happy hours, like I'm talking about, looking for the things that you're missing that are right there, because everybody's so stressed out right now, and I get it. So I want to do something that's going to lift everybody up a little bit.
I love that. I can't believe I just agreed. I was like, you're like, yeah, tripping over a baby. And I'm like, absolutely. I'm like, wait, no,
No, isn't that gross when you trip over one? You're like, gross, he left that there, you know, because
like,
it's always in the wrong place. And
always.
then if you're out doing something fun and you trip over it, you're like, oh God, is there a parent around here? I don't have to take care of it or lift it up or clean it. Oh God.
It's not mine. Yeah, it's not mine.
If it's not like that's like they say, if a tree falls in the woods, does it really make a sound? If somebody leaves a baby on the sidewalk, do you really have to deal with it if it's not yours? It's the same question. Same question.
My Lord. Okay. So I don't even know if maybe I didn't ask this, but like, what do you love about performing, right? Like you're a performer, you're a star. Like, what do you say? What makes you happy about performing?
Yeah, well, you know, it's just, everybody has the same sort of universal thing. There's nothing better than being on a stage and getting that instant feedback. And all of my shows, I deal directly with the audience, so mine are all very interactive.
Right.
And that is the one thing that is definitely different now. You know, being able to connect, even when I'm doing things like this, even when I'm doing like Facebook Lives, I see people writing comments, but it's I can't connect with them in that same way. I can't get to everybody at the same time. It's not the collective experience. It's as close as we have right now.
Right.
But even when I'm working on this show, Dixie's Happy Hour,
Yeah.
it is definitely a thing like, oh, I'm not with an audience. I do the whole show looking directly at the cameras. So it's like we're having a, you know, I'm in the same room with you. We're having a dialogue, a
Right.
conversation, but it is definitely that feeling like, oh, you know, I miss having people right here at my side to laugh along with me. And that is, I mean, that's the best thing about theater. And because in all of my shows, I'm always dealing with the audience. There's a lot of improv. There's a lot of me just having conversations. And so you never know what that's going to be. And I have met some of the greatest people, and heard some of the funniest stories and watched some of the funniest transformations in the audience during my shows over the 12 years I've been doing them. So it is really a great thing. And that's, you know, a lot of people, most shows are exactly the same, word for word, letter for letter, you know, your elbow here, you're dancing this direction,
Right.
everything's be the same.
Right.
And so I talked to a lot of friends of mine that have done like shows a long time on Broadway or a long time on tour, and they go, oh yeah, after a while you do feel kind of like a machine. And the thing about mine is I've never gotten bored with a show, because it's a different audience every night, and the audience completely changes what the show is going to be every night. So I never know what's going to be happening. I know I get people up on stage with me. I get people that are, you know, that I interact with, and I ask them questions. So it's always going to be a different thing for me. And that's what keeps it fun. And that's what's kept me sharp all this time, because I'm constantly having to be like, what? Who?
Yeah.
What? And then, you know, deal with what's in the room. I was in Galveston, Texas one time, and this lady come up, and I always ask when people come up on the stage, you know, what do you do? And this lady comes up, she's very tattooed. And I was like, well, all right, gal. And I said, what do you do? And she says, I'm the roller derby coach. And I was like, stop talking right now. And I stopped the show, and I was like, you're going to have to be up here for a while now, because we're going to have a conversation. Because I had so many questions about it. And then when I went back to Houston a couple years later, I had kept up with her on face page.
Yeah.
And then a few years later, I was in Houston and we got together and I was like, I'm going to go roller derbying with you because I want you
Oh,
to learn me. And we go, don't you know the damn roller derby was closed that day, the roller skating rink? I was like, that is the wrong answer.
wrong. That's wrong.
So we ended up going out and just drinking, having a good time that day. But it's amazing, like the kind of people that I've been able to meet. I met this one woman. She is sweeter than the day, and she was in also in Texas, in Fort Worth, and she is like the oldest living flight attendant. She works for American Airlines. Her hair is the biggest bubble you've ever seen, and she is just done, and the hat has many cowboy hats, but the hat always matches the outfit, which always matches the boots. So if she's red from tip to toe. If she's blue, tip to toe, and she's covered in rhinestones and bangles. And I was like, you are my kind of guy. And she is in her 70s if she's a day. And she's feisty little lady, and I love her. And we've seen each other a couple of times. But that's the kind of thing. These are the people that come to the program, and I get so excited because I never know what the show's going to be like every day. And that's what keeps it so exciting and fresh for me. And that's one of the things that I definitely miss about, you know, being off the road right now. And so I just want to take this opportunity while I'm off the road to keep working and keep creating something, because I didn't want too much time to go by before I was, you know, not associating with the audience in some way.
Right.
You know, this is my best attempt at it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's beautiful. God, I am. What a shame. Did you ever get to roller derby ever? Do you know now?
We have still keep in touch. I've not gotten to roller derby yet, but we will do it. There's no way I'm not doing it, because that right there has got to be one of the most incredible things that I've never been able to do. So I have to try it because that's my kind of thing.
Just the whole time, just like booze and roller skating, everybody. Like,
yeah, it's gonna end tragically, but I'm gonna enjoy it when I'm doing it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so before we wrap up, so any last things, anything that you just think to yourself, God, before they see me one last time, what do I want them to hear from me? What do I want them to know about me?
Well, you know, look, I think, as I said, I think everybody has a great purpose in life. I think everybody has a great opportunity to be part of joy, part of lifting everybody up. And my hope after this, you know, you always hear people say after like this a big you know, when there's been some big depression in the world or something, that there's always a renaissance that comes after it. And I'm really hoping that everybody gets to find their personal renaissance after this shutdown, that everybody can come out and just find the biggest part of their heart and the biggest artist inside them and say the most beautiful things and just create loveliness in this world. Because I think we've all been we've all been pulled away from it for so long that people are just dying to flood the world with good things. So I'm looking forward to when things open. But in the meantime, you know, I want to just keep making people smile and doing what I can to just bring some joy to people. That's been one of the nicest things. I've been, you know, I've met many people on the road, and I've kept in close touch with some of them. People have had conversations with me and dialogues with me, and they've been, you know, they'll direct message me and everything. And the thing that's always so, it's particularly right now, like I know a lot of people that have lost loved ones to COVID, and they will say, they'll send me a message saying, it's been such a hard week. You know, I lost my mama, I lost my son, whatever the situation is. But they say, but I came to watch one of your videos because I knew it would make me laugh. And it breaks my heart, but at the same time, it fills my heart up, because it's like, well, if I can be that little piece to bring a smile back to your face, I'm so grateful that I can be that for you. And I enter in these long conversations with them and just try to lift them up a little bit and go, you know, you're surviving, you are here. So your place in this world is to go out and bring joy to everybody around you. So that's what I hope the world exhibits when this whole thing is done.
I love it. And hey, you know, I think San Diego is very lucky to be having you. Very lucky. I mean, I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. You know, so I just am.
Well, my hope is that, you know, I hope people see the show. I hope, you know, you buy a ticket, you know, it's $35. It covers everybody in your household. And because theater is a collective experience, what I talk about is if you got a lot of friends, but you can't necessarily get together with them, even if you have friends out of state, like send them the link to the show. You can all buy tickets to the same night. And then you get on Zoom before and then have some cocktails together, then watch the show all at the same time, and then get on Zoom at the end and talk about like the drinks that you made, the things you learned, what you thought was funny, maybe talk about the happy hours that you're going to encourage each other to have. So
Yes.
my hope is that this becomes a bit of a new version of the collective experience of theater, but we're just doing it all online right now. So, and it is a fun show. So I appreciate seeing it being, being participating in it. And I hope everybody gets ticket and it sells well and y'all have a good time with it and just bring some inspiration to everybody and bring some much needed funds back into the coffers of Cygnet. Cause I know this is a hard time for everybody. So.
Yeah, God, Dixie Longate, innovator, performer, yes, oh my God. Well, it's been beautiful, it's been lovely. You make me smile so much. Like I said, if I could, I'd be shouting at the rooftops, but this is Zoom, so I have to be kind of quiet. But truly, you are such a wonder, and we are so lucky to have you. So thank you so much for giving us your talent, your time, your art. We once again, Dixie's Happy Hour. That's April 7th through the 18th. Buy the tickets. Was it the 11th? 18th? Oh, I should know that. I feel bad. It's next week. Start
It's
next week.
on your website. So go to the website, look
That's
at
right.
all the ticket and showtime information up there. And the one thing that's very theatrical about it is it is at the showtime. So it's not like a stream on demand kind of thing. It's like if you buy a ticket for Thursday at 8 o'clock, that's when you're going to watch it. So it is like coming back to the theater. It's like that event experience.
Which is what I think we all need. I think that's what people have all been searching for. They don't want that like, oh, it's a Netflix where I come back to it. It's I have to be there. So it's like you can't miss an event. And
Yeah, and that's the thing, I think we're getting so used to like, oh, I'll pause something and walk to the bathroom, I'll get something, and you're breaking up the stream of the
Yep,
story,
yep,
because we want you to be, when we create theater, when we create movies, when we create them so that you'll be engaged and invested in them and watch them. And so I wanted it to be like that. You can't pause this. You can't, if you come in, if you have a ticket for 8 o'clock and you come in at 8:15, you're missing the first 15 minutes. There's no way to go back. So my hope is that you sit down, watch it, enjoy it,
right.
and participate in it, drink along, have a good time with it.
Exactly. Well, it's perfect. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I cannot wait. You have been the absolute best, and I'm just so excited I got to spend this time with you. So I hope that our paths cross again.
I know
And
they will. I have no doubt. You are so
yes,
sweet. Thank you for being such a bright spot in this world. You were such an angel.
thank you, love. Thank you. Well, y'all, that's all we have today. Be sure to tune in. Like I said, go to the website. It has all the information. You can watch trailers, all that good jazz. Get your cocktails, get your tickets, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.